When reigners talk about the Derby, they mean this one, the National Reining Horse Association Derby from Oklahoma City. And this year's Open Championship final features an unbelievably accomplished set of horses.
When you look down the list, you go, oh boy, my Walmart job's looking better and better every day.
It's absolutely loaded.
There's going to be some big ones tonight.
Winning the Derby Open this year may take the ride of a lifetime. We'll have all the action in our special extended coverage.
Coming up on Your Horse Inside and Out, sponsored by Behringer Ingelheim, we're going to talk about showing stallions at international events.
Plus, in Training Secrets, NRHA professional Dallas Cunningham talks about how he keeps horses soft in the bridle. That's all ahead on Horse of the West.
The Western horse was a master of a hard world, pitted for centuries against half-wild bovines. Ferocious predators, brutal weather, and the sheer size of the country they had to cover. Their descendants are still nimble, fast, and courageous, with a rock-solid disposition that makes them beloved the world over. In this next half hour, you'll see them in action here on Horse of the West.
Welcome to Oklahoma City, the international headquarters of the National Reining Horse Association and home to its two biggest events, the NRHA Futurity held each winter for 3-year-old horses and the NRHA Derby for 4-, 5-, and 6-year-olds. Showing on finals night here, riding down through the historic Gateway of Champions into Norwick Arena is always something special.
There's a lot of new places out there that host reining events and cool places, but there's just something about Oklahoma City and this hallway coming down to this arena that's pretty amazing. It always gives you that feeling, you know, the crowd is always there. It's a coliseum, so the feeling is, I don't know, there's just a whole new energy in there.
The facility here, what they've done is awesome. I mean, from when I first started coming here till now, it's amazing. To get a horse ready here, it's hard for me because I come from an area that I don't have weather like this. But with air-conditioned pens and all these fans they set up to take care of these horses here, it's a great facility, and there's something about this pen here you don't see anywhere else. I don't know. It's coming down through that chute's pretty exciting.
I love this place. You know, been coming here and watching since I was a kid. I mean, I watched for years before I got to walk through those gates, and it's just awesome. What a blessing to be here.
And this year's Derby Open Championship may feature the most illustrious set of finalists ever. The defending champion, guaranteed a Magnum. Last year's NRHA Futurity Non-Pro champion, Ice Cube. 2019 NRBC co-champions, Patriot and a Vintage Smoke. 2018 Congress champion, America's Supermodel. 2016 Futurity Reserve champion, Done It for Whiskey, plus several big money winners still looking for their first major title, including Phantom Face and No Smoking Required. $1 Million rider Jason Vanlandingham has won this title before, and he has a chance to win reigning's Triple Crown here in Oklahoma City on NRHA Futurity champion and NRBC co-champion, a Vintage Smoke. But Jason knows it's going to be a battle.
I mean, anytime you get to a major event in the NRHA in the finals, it's going to be loaded, but this is a special class. There's a ton of good ones, a lot of the top trainers with multiple horses back. It's going to be really good.
Starting us off in this clean slate Derby final is the number 3 rider in the NRHA, $4 million earner Craig Schmersal on a horse that has won nearly $100,000 but not captured a major title yet. This is 6-year-old Phantom Face, a Schmersal homebred by NRHA $1 Million sire Paleface Done It. Craig, who's based in Scottsdale, is a fan of the kinds of horses he calls steady eddies, and this is one. He's a consistent finals qualifier, and he lays down a nice run here in Oklahoma City, earning a 225 from the judges.
There's never been a funner horse to show because you can just call on him in those circles, and as soon as you let off the gas, he just cracks back in that small slow, and you know, he's a special horse.
Trevor Dare of Purcell, Oklahoma, is riding a 5-year-old owned by Silver Spurs Equine and sired by NRHA Hall of Fame member Wimpy's Little Step. They also mark a 225 to move into a tie with Craig Schmersal.
He felt really good. He tried really hard. Felt like he was there for me everywhere I needed him. Actually, the last 2 stops, he kept getting stronger and stronger stopping to where he was almost sitting down in there, but he was great. He really showed a lot of heart for me.
$5 million rider Andrea Fapani of Scottsdale is number 2 on the list of NRHA all-time earners. He's riding a son of SG Frozen Enterprise out of the big-time performing and producing mare Tari's designer jeans. Andrea and his wife Tish bred this horse, and Tish rode him to the Cinch NRHA Futurity Non-Pro Championship last year. Andrea took him over after the NRBC because Tish's mom duties didn't leave her time to get him ridden.
It's a perfect example. It's a horse that's, would have probably been right up there in the non-pro, and he's going to be in the top part of his, we had the bubble in the right lead stop there. If not, he would have been really good. But, for a 4-year-old that's been just shown in the non-pro, this is his first open show. I can't complain about it.
Especially since a 225.5 from the judges moves Andrea and Ice Cube into the lead of the 2019 NRHA Derby Open Final. Coming up, the second of Craig Schmersal's 3 horses in the final, Gun Done It.
This horse has just been getting better and better and better.
And NRBC co-champion Patriot, ridden by Nathan Piper.
He is amazing. I've never had a horse like him.
And the horse that tied Nathan and Patriot at the NRBC of Vintage Smoke, who could ride away with the coveted Triple Crown of Reigning with a win here in Oklahoma City.
This horse is unbelievable. He's just such a special talent.
Your Horse Inside and Out with Dr. Joe Carter, sponsored by Beringer Ingelheim.
With the increased popularity of reining and a lot of these Western performance horse events, we're seeing more international interest in our industry. And part of that is the interest in taking a stallion from outside of the United States, bringing it here to compete in an event. We have that going on here today, where a stallion has come into the United States to compete in an event. And just to let you know about the precautions that the USDA and the local veterinarians use to help make sure there's no threat of any kind of international diseases coming into our country, these stallions are often quarantined. So a stallion that comes into the United States has to be quarantined for 45 days and tested negative for certain venereal diseases before they can be released into the general horse population, where they might begin breeding activity. And so those horses can come to the States and they can be quarantined, like this is, the quarantine facility right here, where a stallion is able to compete in an event, and then anytime he leaves the quarantine area, he's going to be under observation by a veterinarian to make sure there's no risk of transmitting any kind of diseases to the local horse population. And it's a very regulated and a very well-defined quarantine situation. Logbooks are kept into the movement of the horse. Specific tests are done to ensure that they're healthy before they leave the country and upon their arrival here. And so with increased world knowledge and participation in our Western horse events, we're going to see a lot more international participation from stallions wanting to come here, and we're doing all we can to make sure we keep our horses healthy. And I'm Dr. Joe Carter with Your Horse Inside and Out.
Your Horse Inside and Out is sponsored by Beringer Ingelheim. Before making any decisions about your horse's health, be sure to contact your veterinarian. You're watching Horse of the West on RFD TV, presented by the Oklahoma City Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Welcome back to Horse of the West. Andrea Fapani is our leader at the NRHA Derby Open Championship Final from Oklahoma City with a 225.5 on board Ice Cube. Tied for second with a 225 are Trevor Dare on Extra Gotta Step and Craig Schmersal on Phantom Face. Craig is up next on a horse he's been riding for a year now for his longtime friend and client Tim Anderson. This is Gun Done It by NRHA Hall of Fame member and $11 million sire Gunner.
This horse has just been getting better and better and better. I got him from Tim and Colleen McQuay and David Silva, and they told me they called me, said that's a nice horse, and I came up there and we bought him, and I'm thrilled for Tim. He's a great owner. I'm thrilled for that horse. He's just gotten better and better and better the whole time, and he's been a hell of a show horse.
Craig Schmersal takes the lead once again by a full 3 points this time with a 228.5 on Gun Done It. That is exactly why Craig trusts Hall of Fame member Tim McQuay's judgment about horses.
You told me when Tim McQuay calls you and says he's got a horse you like, you pretty much believe it?
Yeah, I come. I rode him for 5 minutes and I said, okay, I'll be back. I'll see if I can find some money.
Now here's NRHA $1 million rider Franco Bertolani of Aubrey, Texas, and 2016 NRHA Futurity Open Reserve Champion Done It for Whiskey. This horse is owned by Cardinal Hill Training Center and is a $215,000 plus earner. He's the son of Hall of Fame member Topsail Whiz and the mare Done It for Checks. Franco comes within just half a point of Craig Schmersal with a 228.
He was amazing. He had the great first go and did the finals. It's hard to go there and mark that, have that big score to beat it. But I tried my best, and he did what he could do, and I'm very proud of him.
And on the 5-year-old Shine Your Gun, owned by Carol Rose and sired by Gunner, Franco earns a 227.5, showing the depth of the 2019 Derby class. It's also a 227 for Cade McCutcheon of Aubrey, Texas, and the daughter of Gunner, She's Got Good Guns, owned by Roxanne Copesel. This is one of 3 horses Cade got qualified for this NRHA Derby Open final, his first year as an open rider.
Yeah, this is my first Open Derby. To have 3 in the finals, I'm very fortunate. I have very good customers that trusted me. My parents trusted me with these horses. I got lucky. It's not always going to be like this, I know that, but I'm going to try and enjoy it while I'm here.
Nathan Piper of Whitesboro, Texas is fresh off a victory at the National Reining Breeders' Classic, where he was Open co-champion on board Shannon and Herschel Reed stallion Patriot by NRHA Hall of Fame member and $5 million sire Smart Spook.
He has it all. You know, I had this talented horse, and I wish it had this other horse's mind, or something like that. He's got it all. He's a saint. He has been that way since the beginning.
The NRBC was Nathan's first win at an NRHA major, and the crowd seems fired up about his chances of victory here in Oklahoma City.
I knew they were yelling for me at the NRBC, but here, boy, I could feel it down the spine. I just try to think about the process of my run. I try not to think about what I had to do. I did hear the score, but I try not to even think about that. I just want to go have the best run I can, and he did it for me.
He did indeed. Patriot and Nathan Piper earn a 230.5 to take the lead. It's hard to imagine the scores can keep getting bigger in this OKC pin that's a little smaller than some and a challenging place to mark above 230. But there are still some big-name horse and rider teams to go, including Jason Vanlandingham and a Vintage Smoke, who tied Nathan and Patriot for the co-championship at the NRBC. And Jason is riding for reigning's Triple Crown. But last year's Derby winners Jimmy Vander Hoeven and Guaranteed Magnum could also make history as the first repeat champions of the NRHA Derby ever. We'll be back with more. Don't ride off.
You're watching Horse of the West on RFD TV, presented by the Oklahoma City Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Welcome back to State Fair Park in Oklahoma City and Horse of the West. Nathan Piper and Shannon and Herschel Reed's Patriot charge to the lead here at the NRHA Derby with a 230.5. Craig Schmersal and Gun Dunnett are in second with a 228.5, and Andrea Fapani and Ice Cube are in third with a 225.5. Jason Vanlandingham of Whitesboro, Texas is one of only 2 riders in NRHA history to win the NRHA Futurity, Derby, and the NRBC on a single horse. He's now 2/3 of the way to doing that again in succession, this time on a Vintage Smoke by NRHA $1 million sire, a sparkling vintage. This stallion is owned by Diane Mesmer, who bought him sight unseen as a weanling. Now, as a 4-year-old, he has already won more than $238,000.
This horse is unbelievable. He's just such a special talent. And that my very last stop, I stopped in the exact same tracks that he stopped the first time, and there was no sand there, and he slipped a little bit. But other than that, he was perfect. And stopped as big as one can stop.
The judges reward Jason Vanlandingham and a Vintage Smoke with a 230.5, which is once again going to put them in a tie with Nathan Piper and Patriot. But we're not done yet.
There's still a lot of horses left to go that are pretty special. There's been some big scores this week, so we'll just see how it all shakes out.
Here's Craig Schmersal with his third and final mount in this NRHA Derby final. This is a horse that Jason showed through his 5-year-old season, no smoking required, purchased last year by the Wrangling Partnership.
I've had a little rough luck on this horse a couple times this year, and I didn't know him very well. He's a super nice horse, and he's super broke, and I didn't get with him like I thought I should. But now it's starting to come together a little bit.
A little bit. Craig Schmersal and no smoking required earn a 231 flat to take the lead by half a point. Wow!
Woo! What a mark.
231.
Oh, hell. I bet they're pissed.
What a difference a half a point makes in a competition like this one.
It's just a crazy great set of horses, and you're sitting here with a 231. Jimmy Vanderhoeven's having, it sounds like he's having a great run out there.
I don't think they're done yet. I'll be thrilled if they are, but you know, that's just one of those runs. If you mark a 231, if you end up 5th, you're still happy.
Jimmy Vanderhoeven is a native of the Netherlands based in Whitesboro, Texas. He won this event last year with a 225 on this horse, Guaranteed a Magnum by Magnum with a Dream. Jimmy and Guaranteed a Magnum marked a 226.5 at the NRBC earlier this year, but they will have to have a 231.5 or better to take the lead in Oklahoma City.
You know, he's been getting better at some parts that I thought he was last year, and when I was warming up, he showed me that he still could do that, and so I knew he was going to be better.
Last year at the Derby, Jimmy went first and had to wait through 31 horses to find out if he'd won. This year, he drew 29th and had to wait through 28 horses and watch the scores go through the roof.
You know, everybody was marking higher in the end. Casey kept telling me to ride my own run, and that's what I was trying to do. You know, if everybody starts scoring high and stuff and to stay focused on your own horse and what he is capable of doing, that's pretty hard because we all want to win.
Jimmy Vanderhoeven and Guaranteed a Magnum end up topping their own personal best by a full 5 points to take over the lead from Craig Schmersal by half a point with a 231.5. Up next is Casey Deary, NRHA $1 Million rider on a 4-year-old owned by Jody and Jolan Puno named Gonna Ricochet by NRHA $1 Million sire Gonna Trasha. Casey told us the colt was something special while he was riding him as a long 2-year-old at his home base in Weatherford, Texas. In any other year, these two might be riding away with the title as they mark a big 230, but in this class of overachievers, Casey will end up 5th. Jason Vanlandingham and of Vintage Smoke will share 3rd with Nathan Piper and Patriot. Craig Schmersal and Dun Gunnett will earn the Reserve Championship, and Jimmy Vanderhoeven will capture the NRHA Derby Open Championship title for a record-setting 2nd year in a row. Chad and Molly Cherry bought Guaranteed a Magnum after last year's Derby, and they are glad they did.
I am glad. It's been an amazing ride with him. Yep. Just unreal experience. So thankful that we were able to buy him.
Jimmy, as always, keeps it all low-key.
I think that's the hardest part, showing with so many, you know, great horses, great people, and a crowd like this, to stay real calm in your mind and go through the maneuvers one by one, and that's for me the hardest. I try to.
Got it done.
Yes, ma'am.
Coming up, NRHA professional Dallas Cunningham talks about keeping your horse soft in the bridle. That's just ahead.
You're watching Horse of the West on RFD TV, presented by the Oklahoma City Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Now from the Training Secrets Vault, here's NRHA professional Dallas Cunningham.
When I go and get on them, I don't just start loping. I don't want to start a fight or nothing like that. I make sure that they're going to be off the bridle and off my legs, and I soften them more with my legs than I do my hands. Like if I just tap my legs on them, I want that nose to come back to me instead of be. I just don't want them to resent my legs, because I'm going to use my legs in the show pen. I'm going to use my legs for everything else I do down the road. So I do a lot of stuff trotting. All my warm-up is trotting around. And I take that nose to the inside quite a bit. And if they want out to the outside, I use my outside leg or outside rein. And I just keep bumping them forward. And I don't pull hard. He wants to be pretty soft today. That's nice. But like if there's a little resistance, I pull X amount and don't pull any harder, because if there's resistance, he's telling you that's enough pressure. You just wait him out until he wants to find that release, and then when he finds that release, then I just release him. And that really gets their neck soft right here. And if their neck's soft, along with their chin up through their jaw, there's not a lot of tension there. If there's tension, I just keep putting them to the inside and release. When they find that release, I release. I don't like to pull them harder, because then they just pull harder. And I just wait them out with my legs and just keep driving them forward. Biggest thing is drive them forward. And this helps me with every maneuver. I mean, lead changes, slowing down in the center, stopping, guiding. Like on a baby, I'd make sure they're guiding before I do this stuff. But, you know, this will get their mind, like this horse is pretty spooky. And this will get their mind in between your reins and in off your hands. And they're a lot more focused on you. And riding a lot of young horses, I mean, all I'm worried about is their focus. That I want them to focus on me. And I mean, it might look like I'm pulling hard, but there's slack in the reins. And I come right here and just wait them out. I don't want to pull any harder. I want him to find that release. And he knows this horse is pretty dang good in the face, so that sure helps. But that even the ones that are tough, once they find that release, then they're good. Because there's nothing worse than when you show one and you go to the center and they have a little bobble and you pick up and they brace that chin or your jaw, and it just comes from the face down the neck all through the body.
You can find the full episode of Training Secrets with Dallas Cunningham on YouTube at Horse of the West. And watch in the weeks ahead for coverage of the NRHA Derby Non-Pro from Oklahoma City, the Low Roller Reining Classic from Nampa, and for the first time, Horse of the West is headed to Minnesota for the North Central Reining Horse Association Futurity. Be sure to tune in. I'm Jennifer Reynolds. See you then.